The biggest thing that you have to look at with the liver is anger, because the liver is the anger center. And so when you're angry at, say, the president or the ex-president or your neighbor or your partner or your ex-partner, then that anger just gets in there, and then it's going to hold on to those stones and those particles in the liver, because we haven't let that go. We haven't forgiven ourselves for judging them so harshly in the first place.
This is the Kevin Trudeau Show.
I am exposing the corruption in government and in major multinational corporations. We're telling you the things that they don't want you to know that will make your life better.
Let's talk about liver cleanse. One of the cleanses I recommend in the book, Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About, is you need to cleanse the liver. The liver is a filter in the body.
It is a filter.
Why does a person have to cleanse the liver? I mean, an animal in the wild doesn't cleanse their liver.
They kind of do.
Tell me.
I grew up on a farm, and every year our cattle and our horses would go out and eat all the milk thistle and all the there was a specific sage that they ate, and some of the horsetail. And they only did it one time a year, usually in the spring, and they'd just go chomp it all, and then have a big bowel movement, and then they were good all year. But you could see how they were just cleansing themselves once a year.
So those are the herbs that traditionally cleanse the liver.
Milk thistle does, and again, especially for animals, they're going to naturally go and eat the things that they need to do. You know, in Hawaii, people used to do kukui nuts, and half of one, and that was part of their tradition every spring, that everybody ate, they had a big cleansing situation
which cleanses the liver.
Cleanse the bowels, and then when the bowels are moving, the liver is more easily able to clear itself as well.
Okay, now obviously people around the world, because people are watching this from all over the world, America's probably the worst, but there are other countries that are bad too. Our diet is full of, it's ultra-processed food, it's chemicals, there's pesticides, there's herbicides, there's fungicides, genetically modified stuff. There's all these chemicals put in the food. We're ingesting chemicals in what we drink, the air we breathe. All this has to get filtered by the liver. Mm-hmm. So the liver is overworked compared to your beautiful horse that you grew up with, okay, or the cow, right? So we definitely need to cleanse our liver. What happens? What are the benefits when somebody cleanses the liver?
Well, it opens up your filtration system, which is it's kind of like never having your oil changed in your car. How long would your car run properly before it's coughing and choking? So it's the same principle. Is when the liver it gets clear. You know, like for instance, one of the cute ladies on this cleanse had almost no color in her feet or her face even. She was like so pale. I'm like, my gosh.
Young girl too.
Yeah, young girl. And now she's like pink, and she said, I'm not cold anymore. She's been cold since she could remember. And what she got out of her liver was kind of extraordinary. But she's like, I feel so warm. And she said she could feel the blood moving down her legs into her feet. And so, yeah, the liver is a you know, what happens is let's say you have an injury or an illness, and or let's say you have an injury and you fell down on some asphalt and you got a piece of dirt in the injury, and the injury heals over, and yet there's still particles of dirt or asphalt or something in the body. And so what'll happen is the bloodstream will pick that up, take it to the liver immediately wraps it with fat in order so it won't get to your heart or your brain. It would kill you because it loves you so much, and holds that. And so those particles then are now in your filter system, not allowing somewhere in your body a blood vessel to get clean blood all the way through. And so the more it happens, the less we're able to have good circulation. Our fats don't break down properly. You know, it's a 535 functioning organ, so there's lots of reasons why we need to be able to know how to get it clear once we know how to get it all out. It's very important at Angel Farms too that we teach people how do we cleanse our liver without hurting ourselves or others, because you can't just dump the liver and not think that it can get out. Like for instance, one of the people today, and so they're on their 9th day, still had a rope, one of our ladies, that was about that big and just solid rubber, right? And how's she going to get in?
That came out of the colon.
Came out of the colon.
Yeah.
And how's she going to get anything
After 9
out?
days.
Yeah. Angel Farms, we're the only cleanse that actually goes all the way and gets the right side. And so far, we've never had a right hip surgery. Yay. And many hundreds and hundreds.
Which means people
that
who
were
came
canceled.
here who had problems with their right hip
Number one hip replacement is the right hip.
because
Of starvation in that area. All the good food comes in from the small intestine, empties in front of the ileo area, and has to go uphill, and gravity doesn't always help it, and stress doesn't help it, and worms like to hang out over there, big ones.
you've seen that. You've seen a lot of parasites come up
Oh
too.
yeah, well over 6 feet long, even on this cleanse.
I mean, isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, and
some
they're
of them
all
look like
over
big,
here.
Some of them look like a big spider nest.
Oh yeah, they are a nest. They're a nest, a colony. And you know, I did a radio show a few years ago in California, and the lady who was hosting the show actually had just done the cleanse, and so we actually started talking about parasites on the radio. And when I was driving home from the studio, this pathologist got a hold of me, and he said, "You're the only one that ever talks about all the parasites over there on the right side." And he said, "When I open people up, it is fully loaded." And I told him, I said, isn't it interesting that what I have found is the closer people are to death, the more worms they have. So I do think that they do serve their purpose to help in the systematic shutdown of the organs too. But when we can be free of that and we sleep better, we digest better, we aren't so irritable and antsy, and we don't have the pain. And another thing too is we don't feel like after we eat we're still hungry.
Well, let's talk about weight loss and the liver, because everyone has a clogged liver. And if the liver is clean, everybody feels better. Mm-hmm. They have more energy.
Yep.
Circulation improves. Does it have any effect on losing weight?
Yes, because the liver is the only organ that breaks down that has the enzyme that breaks down fat. And so once the liver is clear, I see people go into what's called a melting effect, which you're going to see that on one of our ladies that's here. She already swelling immensely, but she's going to go into a melting effect. And so I would say in the next 30 days, she's going to have lost over, I would say, between 70 and 80 pounds a month.
Just because she cleaned her liver.
Yep.
Without trying to lose weight.
Right. Yeah. It's why I don't have a scale here, because I don't want people to focus on their weight. I want people to focus on health and education, and how do we get clear and reroute our ideas about ourselves, right? And so she's doing really great though, but she's already melting.
Now, your liver cleanse here, we are sworn to secrecy, not to reveal it, because it has to be done
Right.
under the supervision of an expert to make sure it's all done properly and you don't have any issues, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we're not going to share that. Is there anything over the counter that people can buy to maybe not go as deep as your liver cleanse, but at least give a person some benefit?
So the thistle,
Milk thistle.
thistles, and there's a thistlein, different thistles, and if you get a variety of them, the body likes that better. It is great to support the liver. But the biggest thing that you have to look at with the liver is anger. Because the liver is the anger center. And so when you're angry at, say, the president or the ex-president or your neighbor or your partner or your ex-partner, then that anger just gets in there and then it's going to hold on to those stones and those particles in the liver, because we haven't let that go. We haven't forgiven ourselves for judging them so harshly in the first place. And so my recommendation is, if you want to really help your liver, look at how you need to go deeper into forgiveness, how you need to go deeper into letting go of anger, because every time you're angry, you deplete your immune system by 5 hours, 12 hours with carbonation, right? And every time you're angry, you're actually hurting yourself by your liver and hurting other people, and that's really not your intention.
Now you
Right.
have you do an exercise here where you have all of us grab a piece of paper, and on one side we put worst. So tell us about that.
So I have people write 10 of the very worst things. This is a really good thing to do for your liver. 10 of the worst things that you've ever done that's ever happened to you in your life. So people, places, or events have most pissed you off, hurt you, or made you angry.
Somebody cheated on me.
Yeah.
Somebody left me. Somebody robbed me. Somebody
I got
filed a lawsuit
abused.
against me. I got sexually abused by somebody.
Perpetrators, all of that. Your attorneys, your contractors that ripped you off, all of that.
People
could be like,
people when you think of them, you go, "Arr,"
yeah,
right?
that one.
That's the one. That's the one you want.
That's the one.
When you think about somebody, you go, "Arr."
And you write it down, write their name down. You don't have to write the whole story, but write their name down. And then try to do 10. I had one lady who had 75, and she got over it, changed her life. But so
She did 75.
75 things she was so angry at.
Start with 10.
Start with 10.
Start with 10.
10's good.
Unless you want to go to 75. Some people say, I can write a book.
And then I have them turn the paper over and write 10 or more of the very best people, places, or events that most blessed your life with the greatest love and the greatest happiness and all
My
of that.
dog.
Yeah. And then you're going to find that many that were on the worst side are on the best side. Can be your partner, can be your siblings, your aunties, your uncles, your grandparents, whatever. And so they're going to be on the same side. And you're going to go, thank you, God, for all the things that made me angry. So you're going to take a moment and thank God for every single one of them, because in each one of them is a gift to help co-design who you are right now, which is amazing. You don't want to be holding on to that stuff, but you want to use them
You're
as
going
a
to
good thing.
thank the people that you go, when I think of, you're going to thank them for making you angry or for doing something bad to you.
Yeah, thank them for being in your life to help co-create who you are. Because it's like sometimes we have to
That's hard to do, though.
It is hard, but it's necessary. You can't get into your true heart and your true love when you're still holding on to people, places, and events of the past that aren't even happening. This is where I like to tell people, too, that humans are the most insane species on the planet because we're the only ones who keep being angry over things that aren't happening anymore. And like I used to like using an example of my little dog. And if somebody steps on him, he's going to yipe and move, but and then he might go lay down and get on with his happy self. But humans, no, that person stepped on me 15 years ago or 30 years ago, I'm still going to be really angry at them instead of like, whatever. And most of the things I find that people that they're mad at, those people don't even know that they're mad at them. And so they're developing cancers and liver diseases and all of this stuff, and the person who they're angry at doesn't even know they're mad at them.
You found people that came to Angel Farms, your health rejuvenation facility, that had anger. You knew you could see it.
Yeah.
And unless they released that, they were going to die, right?
Absolutely. And I tell them that sometimes. Like one lady who had some tumors in her uterus and already perforated in the wall, which is not a good thing. And she came to do the cleanse before she did any other therapies. And so when I'm getting close to the liver and I'm like, who's making you mad and pissing you off? Here's her neighbor. And I said, oh, so what's this about? And she said, he's a jerk. And I said, well, how long has he been a jerk? 9 years. When was the last time you talked to him? 9 years ago. I said, so have you changed in 9 years and grown? Maybe. Well, do you think he had an opportunity to do so? Maybe. I said, so okay, so you're going to take some bananas, she's in Hawaii, to your neighbor in the morning, and you're going to tell him aloha. And she said, oh, no, I'm not. And I said, well, then your choice is to die. Well, that's rude. And I said, I'm only going to tell you the truth, my love, because you have to let this go if you want to heal this. You have to, because it's the anger and the hatred and the grudges and resentment is self-destructive. So you have to let this go. So she goes over to her neighbor the next morning and knocking on the door, and she said, I want you to know I forgive you. And he said, for what? And she said, when we got in that big argument 9 years ago when you moved in, and he said, we did? I didn't know that. I just think you guys are the best neighbors ever. I wave to you every day. I'll be there to help you if you ever need anything, but I've never been mad at you. And she said, really? And then she went home that day and she realized all the people she thought that she would be angry at, maybe they don't even know it. And so she let it all go. And guess what? That was the end of the cancer. She never even she's had 2 babies since then too, by the way.
So when we talk about cleansing, I mentioned colon cleansing, liver cleansing, which is really important. And they're all important, correct?
Yep.
Okay. The most important cleanse is what?
Spiritual. Always spiritual.
It's letting go of all this stuff we're holding on.
Yeah, because you know, here's what happens. When we're in utero and we're about 2 weeks into before we're born and we're just putting on weight, we pull up what's called a veil and we cause ourselves to forget who we are. So we have this crazy journey of who we're not. So that means we would feel not loved, but that's not true. We would feel unworthy, and that's not true. We would feel stupid, and that's never true. We would feel not good enough, and that's not true either. We would feel not important and not wanted. That's not true. We would feel, why am I here? What's my purpose? It's big, and it's called love. We would feel alone, separate, and disconnected. That's not true, because you're always connected to your source and the rest of it doesn't really matter. And so all of those aren't true, but we all do a journey of it. And from the time we're in utero until we're around 8 years old, everything we're told or made to feel we believe is true. So if we're told or made to feel that we're any of those, stupid or worthless or not good enough, these become our belief systems. And then around age 8, what develops in the brain is known as a critical factor, or our ability to reason. And that's about, hey kids, don't listen, when we stop believing in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy so easy. But after that, we're making decisions in our life based on beliefs we picked up before we're 8, and we don't even know where the heck they came from. And most of them aren't even ours. They're somebody we trusted. And so in order for true healing to be everlasting, we need to correct those core beliefs when they began, sometimes in utero, sometimes, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean 8, around 8. I was 9 when I stopped believing in Santa, so I was a little bit later. But getting those core beliefs corrected and then getting the connection back to source is really one of the greatest things that happens at Angel Farms. Is I love watching people connect up to their source, and then it's between, like Mother Teresa says, it's never been between you and them anyway. It's always only between you and God. And so then you have your deep connection with God, and then your life can really take off and really, have this like intense bliss and happiness. No matter what's going on around you, you can't disconnect your connection with your source, because it's there before you came in utero.
Where God is,
I am.
where I am.
God is, always. Has been, is now, always will be.
Hi, I'm Kevin Trudeau. This is everything they don't want you to know about to improve the quality of your life. Broadcasting every Monday and Wednesday, 2 days a week now. Monday and Wednesday at 1 o'clock Chicago time. Make sure you tune in and subscribe to the channel and share these shows with everyone you know.